It's Barshens, and I'm gonna tell some scary stories. And and then Linton can add some lightning to that.
Yeah, cool.
And if he doesn't, then this is really awkward.
Yep.
Barshens!
So, it's Halloween, hopefully, when we release this. Close enough, we'll find out. Fingers crossed. So I thought we'd tell some ghost stories around the campfire. Now, we don't have a campfire, but we do have an inflatable chopper. Nicely done. So I tell one of my good stories first.
Certainly, you were
Sure.
like a ghost hunter at one stage, weren't you?
Yeah, so I hung around with ghost hunting groups.
Derek Acora.
Derek Acora, I hung around with psychics and ghost hunters and went around the world.
Charlatans?
Legally speaking, Derek Acora is a real psychic.
Oh.
If I say Derek Acora is an obvious fraud, I have to then therefore say allegedly. And like if I said Psychic Sally was a disgusting human being, I'd then have to say allegedly after that as well, you know. And if I said I didn't lament the loss of certain psychics who have passed on, that's also fine. I don't have to add allegedly to that. That's a personal opinion.
Colin Fry.
Colin Fry.
He's not very well, is he, Colin Fry?
No,
Is he
he's
not?
dead.
Oh, is he? Oh, I tell you,
He's
he's
not psychic. Barry Lewis.
Oh, I'm getting someone come through.
And he's with us tonight.
He's with us now.
Oh my God!
So, so I went around ghost hunting for years and I went to some interesting places. I will say the best place I ever went to in the UK was a place called the Hellfire Caves. A guy called Lord Dashwood, he decided to use his wealth and his fame to build up a cool club called the Hellfire Club. He built it directly underneath the church to basically say, haha, religion up yours. Over the course of time, it became associated with black masses and dark magic and evil. Now, there was a woman who was murdered down there, again, allegedly, according to stories. On the basis of a fake note, she went to see what she thought was her fiancé in this cave. They were going to run away together. And she was met by these two guys who'd tried it on. She ran, one threw a brick, killed her. Right? That's the story, that one of the ghost services there. So I went on this ghost hunt with all these people. And there's a thing called paranormal tourism now, where people just go for a ghost hunt for the night. It's a bit of fun. I've done many.
Oh, hold on.
Go on.
So, a young lady is attempted. People attempt to rape her and they kill her.
Yeah.
And you're
Allegedly.
a bunch of blokes hunting her.
Yeah. Not her directly, all the spirits
You're hunting
there.
All
her
the women who
spirits.
have been bricked in.
Because they think there was black masses done down there, and the whole thing about the caves is that it was built to look like the reproductive system.
Ooh.
So the main cavern's called the womb. There are ovaries.
dong.
And there is a part of the cavern system called the shaft.
Hiding in the ballsack.
Wow.
So you go to all of these ghost hunts, you think, is it just going to be lots of nerdy men ghost hunting? And don't get me wrong, there are. But also, families would turn up, hen nights, stag doos would turn up. There was one guy on this night who was an old guy in his 80s who had a pack of his own ghost hunting equipment. So he'd just go around and go ghost hunting on his own. So he went off and did his own little thing. So when I got the chance, they turn off all the lights in the Hellfire Caves at a certain point, and it's so black, you can. When they say you can't see your hand in front of your face, they mean it here.
Wow.
And it was scary. And I had these hearing amplifiers on, so it's like earphones with a little wand that you wave about, and it amplifies your hearing by about 50 decibels. And I'm sitting down there in this cavern, the deepest, darkest part of the Hellfire Caves at like 3 a.m, and then I just heard this voice go, "Stop." And I could hear it really loud in my earphones, but I couldn't quite sense where the voice was to me. So I thought I'd move a little bit closer, and I took a few steps, and then I heard this voice go, "Stop," again. So I stopped, because I'm a coward. But the voice was so close that I thought, I wonder if I reach out, I can sense anything. So...
Stop trying to touch her up.
No, it was a gruff voice. It was a gruff voice.
She's been dead for a long time.
Right. Anyway, so it's pitch black. I'm alone. I was balls deep in the shaft, and I'm hearing this voice go, "Stop." So I reach out, and as I'm reaching out, on my fingertips, I feel this really cold shoulder. And so, because I panicked, I went, "Ah!" And then that 80-year-old man who went off by himself suddenly went, "Ah!" Because it turned out we were chasing each other around the shaft all night, and I reached out and I touched him, and I scared him near to death. So if you want to know what an 80-year-old man's dying cries sound like, I
Wow.
can tell you
Did you
pretty.
kill him?
No, but he did.
With a brick.
He did have a very sweet tea and an early night. So that was one of my many ghost
You got
stories.
lucky.
Oh,
Well
wow.
done.
I got a brief story.
Tell us a brief story.
Right, brief story from Ireland time, from County Laois. This is a true story, I believe, in the way that all ghost stories are true.
Yeah.
So in Port Arlington, I think, there was an old lady who ran a
Lived
farm.
in a shoe.
She died.
Could have broken that a bit easier to us.
Yeah, bloody hell.
Everybody dies.
Look, that's how this story kicks you, all right? It's not going to get any easier from here on in, so just brace yourself.
Okay.
So she's dead, and her family have a funeral for her, and then a week later, upstairs there's a load of banging, screaming, and all sorts of things, and the family are freaking out. And then the plates and the cups start moving around. So it's all a bit unusual. They get a priest in. The priest goes into the room and says, "Was this where it's all been happening?" I said, "Yeah." "Is there any significance to this room?" "I think it's a bedroom or something." It's like, okay, fine. And he locks the door behind him. Everyone's kept outside. Does something inside, nobody knows what. Comes out and said, "Keep this door locked at all times, always, or you're fucked." Something
It's a
that
rude
verbatim.
priest.
Yeah, and Welsh as well.
Anyway, so they carry on and all the noises have stopped. Nothing's happening. Everything's all fine. The eldest son or somebody, a male of the family, got basically pissed drunk, came home and said, "Even if the devil's in there, I'm going in that room. I want to see what he's done." And he kicks the door down and there's nothing in there. It's all very normal. He goes, "Oh, well, that's a lot of shit then." Next night, the whole house is practically shaking. There is things falling over the floor, shits on the floor, everything goes on. So they call the priest out again and he goes back in the room, locks the door and says, "Right, I'm telling you now, don't do anything. Never go in this room ever again. Ever." And I haven't, to this day, apparently.
I thought it was going to be that the door was in some way structurally keeping the house together. And when you open it, it's like,
I don't seriously. I'm not a priest. I'm a structural engineer. Do not open this door.
You're going to need a lintel, mate, to be honest.
So if anyone knows that story, where the house is, tell us down below. I'll turn up with me ghost hunting equipment, which is a sketchbook, a dictaphone, and a copy of the real Ghostbusters poster.
Do you use a dictaphone?
You can do.
Wouldn't use your finger.
You know what? I'm very impressed by it.
I used to I really struggled to sleep, and often I would open my eyes, and sitting at the end of my bed, or standing at the end of my bed, would be this little old lady, white hair, very, very old. My nan. Turned out it was my nan.
Staring at you.
Oh, she was just, yeah.
But it's interesting because a lot of people, when you hear ghost stories, by and large, I would say 8% of them involve people waking up or about to go to sleep. And they say, "Oh no, I'm definitely awake when it happens." And you think, and there's that whole thing about sleep paralysis. And all this
which is
kind
where
of
I
thing.
thought you were going with the hag.
Yeah.
And that
It turns
famous
out it's
painting.
worse than that.
So yes, it's your nan with a knife.
Yeah.
Just an old lady. Don't throw hag around.
Yeah, hag shaming.
Hey.
You calling my nan a hag?
Unless that was
No.
a name hag, that's
The
an
hag
evil name.
is his nan. Are we doing it?
Nanny hag.
Have you ever seen a spooky cake or a haunted
Yeah. Also, we just moved house recently. In the middle of the night, it was like bang, bang. And like we were in bed one night and like bang, bang. And like, what the hell's going on? And like Phoebe and Chloe's there, the pugs are getting mental, like pooing all over the floor and the carpet, absolutely mental stuff. And I was like, what the hell is it? It just sounded like literally there was someone in our loft hammering. But what it is, it's a bit of a DIY tip. Go outside in the morning, it was just a windy night and the soffit was lifting. So I got a ladder and applied a little bit of a silicone bead, make sure it's clear. So then obviously when it dries, if it's brown or black, it's going to stand out. So a soffit is white. You either want some white silicone or clear, a bead across there, and then the weight sealed it on a dry day. 24 hours, no, it's gone.
No more spooky.
Yeah, no.
Quite rightly, Matt's got a question. So.
Oh,
And
okay.
did that stop the anger of the person hammering in your
Yeah, and since then the pugs haven't pooed or anything. It's been brilliant.
I had no shit at all.
Yeah.
Did you silicone their bum holes?
Yeah.
What is a soffit?
It's the ventilation-y thing underneath the roof. You know when you get the
This is so
fascia.
spooky.
How did this Halloween episode suddenly become a B&Q?
So,
I'm
yeah,
freaked out.
on the roof you have the white bit on the side. It's the bit underneath it, you know, where there's a little vent hole, so it lets the roof breathe. Yeah. I got it from Screwfix.com.
No one needs to know about your DIY concerns.
I just thought I would just, bring something a bit more like factual into this.
I used to deliver pizzas.
Yeah.
And so I stopped off at screwfix.com to get all of my Screwfix.
What, for all your DIY needs?
I stopped, no. So I was delivering a pizza, this is true, where the trade goes, Selco. And
Oh yeah, great.
Right, this stops now.
I was delivering pizza.
Yeah.
And I know that ghosts don't exist.
Yeah.
Sorry, listener.
Sorry.
But as I was walking
seen
up
them.
to the house with the pizza, I just heard a voice go, "Stop." As clear as
The
that.
same old 80-year-old man.
There was no one there. Stop.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was it.
Did you stop?
I stopped.
I think that 80-year-old man's going around causing mischief.
So it was very similar to your story, but there was no one around.
All right, well, I'll end on one spooky urban story, all right? So, I was coming home from a gig late night, it was like 2 in the morning, and I was a bit drunk, stumbling around. And then I'm going down this street in a really dodgy part of South London. And then, out of nowhere, I just heard this voice go, 13, 13.
We're not past the bingo hall. Or...
No. As I'm going down this street, the shout is getting louder. I keep saying this, 13, 13. And as I'm walking down the street, I'm beginning to like zone in on where this is coming from. And there's this house at the end of the road, and it looks run down and spooky. And I looked up, and there's a little kind of like, it looked like a very faint light behind the front door, which had a pane of glass on the front door. So I could see a little glow of whatever was inside the house. And as I'm getting close to this door, I keep hearing this 13, 13. And I look at the front door through the pane of glass, and there's weird movement going on. So I opened up the letterbox flap, and I put my eyes to the letterbox to look in, and suddenly this finger jabbed me in the eye and went, 14! 14! And that's my ghost story about ghosts, except it wasn't, it was a bad gag. So there we go.
I ended on such a low.
Were you there that night? Have you been involved in scaring people in churchyards? Do you want to sponsor a Screwfix? If so, please get in touch and comment below. That's been our almost Halloween special. Goodbye, everyone, and remember...
Just remember. Never forget. Remember.
Are we supposed to say spooky something?
Spooky something!
Spooky something!
Spooky something. Oh no!
Ah! I upset Colin Fry's fan base because when he died, he had said in an interview earlier he's going to do the Houdini thing where he'd have a code word, and then in a seance he would say that code word and prove that ghosts and the afterlife exist. That didn't happen. So when I went on to his Facebook fan page and said, Colin Fry didn't have a word and proved his afterlife, someone underneath went, "How dare you exploit the dead for your own entertainment?"
Oh,
and I
no.
was like,
Wow.
now, let's look at that statement carefully.
Ooh, copper.